Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Good evening. Thanks for choosing Big Fox News. I'm Nick Smith. New York is offering another vaccine incentive program, this time targeted towards teenagers. In tonight's top story, Matt Kleindus joins us from Corning with more on the prizes being offered by the state.
Good evening, Nick. With Pfizer now offering their vaccine to kids ages 12 through 17, New York is now offering state tuition to encourage parents to get their kids vaccinated.
The greatest need are the 12 to 17-year-olds.
Governor Cuomo's crusade to encourage vaccinations now turns to the Empire State's youth. In an effort to get 12 to 17-year-olds vaccinated, New York is launching the Get a Shot, Make Your Future campaign.
We will raffle off on a weekly basis full tuition, room, and board scholarships to any public college or university.
Over the next 5 weeks, 50 kids will be rewarded all expenses paid scholarships to attend any SUNY school. New York joins states like Ohio and West Virginia to offer college scholarships to teenagers who get vaccinated. Governor Cuomo says the raffle is a good incentive for students and parents alike who are thinking about how to make it through college.
For a parent, you're worried about paying college tuition? Tell your 12 to 17-year-old, go out, get a shot. It protects the family, protects the 12 to 17-year-old. It's going to be among a small population, so your odds are good because it's only the population that has been vaccinated.
Once your 12 to 17-year-old gets their first dose of the COVID vaccine, you can go to ny.gov/vaccine scholarship in order to register for the raffle. Winners will be announced starting this Tuesday. Matt Kleindus, Big Fox, WYDC in Corning.
The Elmira Pioneers and Arnott Health are partnering to help strike out COVID. This Friday, Arnott is holding a walk-in vaccine clinic at the Pioneers' home Diamond Dunfield. Anyone who gets their vaccine this Friday will be given free tickets to a Pioneers home game on June 25th, where they will get their second dose. The general manager of the team says it's a good way to serve the community and get people to the ballpark.
It's kind of a win-win. So you come and you get your vaccine this Friday, then you'll get some tickets for a future game, which will then set up for your second vaccine. Something we can do to help and get, again, needles in arms.
Friday's vaccine clinic will be open from noon until 6 p.m. Kids aged 12 to 17 must be accompanied by a parent and bring proof of date of birth in order to get vaccinated. As vaccinations increase and infection rates decline, more states are opening businesses, theaters, and sporting venues. David Lee Miller has more from New York.
Almost 300 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines have been administered in the U.S., setting the stage for a busy summer as vacation destinations get back to business. But here in New York, the former epicenter of the outbreak, a spike in crime is threatening to derail the recovery. Compared with last year, murder is up 23% and shootings up 80%. Mayor Bill de Blasio acknowledges crime has been a challenge, but claims the situation will stabilize when the city fully reopens.
Recovery equals safety, safety equals recovery. You see more and more activity in the city. That's going to help our police. That's going to help our cure violence movement.
Another big concern as cities reopen, will folks who haven't been vaccinated follow CDC guidelines on mask wearing? Some lawmakers have proposed bills making mask mandates illegal, saying it should be an individual choice, not a law.
You go and spend as much time outside as you want or don't, in a restaurant or don't, in a grocery store or don't. But that is your right to determine your risk and not the government's job to do it.
And as tourism picks up, so does air travel, with the TSA expecting some 2 million passengers a day over the holiday weekend. Most say they're happy to be back in the air and haven't seen any major issues related to COVID restrictions.
Travel's coming back, which is great. But again, you have to be kind, you have to have respect for your fellow traveler.
And back here in Times Square, 200 businesses have reopened and 18 businesses opened their doors for the very first time. In New York, David Lee Miller, Fox News.
Employers can legally offer incentives to employees to get vaccinated against COVID-19. The federal government says it's okay. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission said Friday employers are not prohibited from offering incentives to employees to get vaccinated for COVID-19, and there's no limit to the size of those incentives. The agency said in its updated guidance that companies administering vaccines themselves can also do so as long as the incentives are not coercive. The EEOC already said in December that companies can legally mandate all employees re-entering the workplace and new hires be vaccinated for COVID-19. According to the EEOC, there are 2 exemptions companies must allow for: a disability or religious reasons. Texas Democrats staged a walkout in the state house to keep a sweeping voting restrictions bill from passing. Republicans in the Texas House were racing against a midnight deadline to win approval, but Democrats walked off the floor late Sunday, leaving them without a minimum number of members to vote, forcing them to adjourn. The measure would ban unsolicited mail-in ballot applications and overnight and Sunday morning voting. It requires ID and signature matching for mail-in ballots, and it bans drive-through voting and expands access for partisan poll watchers. It's been a weekend full of activities where Americans have come together to honor the fallen. President Biden says Memorial Day takes a very personal role to family members of the fallen, and that we need to do all that we can to support them. Kevin Cork has more.
A day of honor and remembrance for those who lost their lives to protect our freedom. In his first Memorial Day as Commander-in-Chief, President Joe Biden said it's a very difficult day for all of us, but especially so for the families of those we honor.
We must remember the price that was paid for our liberties. We must remember the debt we owe those who have paid it, the families left behind.
Memorial Day is observed every year on the last Monday of May and commemorates the lives of those who died in U.S. military service. This morning's activities kicking off with a remembrance ceremony at the World War II Memorial. Then the President, joined by the First Lady, the Vice President, and the Second Gentleman at Arlington National Cemetery, laying a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier. The President addressing an audience at the cemetery, saying the sacrifices of those who died can never be forgotten.
For while we stand amid monuments of stone, we must never forget that each of these markers, for those known and unknown here at Arlington and far beyond, represent a precious life.
It'll come as little surprise that there are a number of events here in the nation's capital this Memorial Day, including events at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial and the Navy Memorial as well. In Washington, I'm Kevin Cork, Fox News.
A Minnesota community gathered to recognize 3 young victims of gun violence. 2 of the kids were shot and killed in separate shootings in Minneapolis. A 3rd child is in the hospital fighting for his life. The community is now issuing a call to action. Charmaine Nero reports.
I pray that unity will come on this community like never before.
Standing at the North Minneapolis intersection where 6-year-old Anaya Allen was shot and killed, hundreds of people gather in prayer.
I came out to show my support for the notion that we can stop violence as a community.
This latest March for Justice comes days after 9-year-old Trinity Addison Smith died after she was shot in the head while playing on a trampoline in Minneapolis. Her heartbroken father now holding a picture of his daughter in his arms.
They could have made a difference in this world if their lives hadn't been taken from them.
As city leaders, pastors, community groups, activists, and neighbors from all walks of life made their way through the streets of North Minneapolis.
I see everybody, not just blacks, whites, Mexicans, everybody just coming out because all of us want the same thing.
And down the street where 10-year-old LaDavion was struck by gunfire.
First of all, acknowledge that happened in that space, but then also to let the neighbors on that block know we're taking our streets back.
They're sending a clear message to those responsible.
As a community, we need to stand up and say to those who want to do violence, this is not the place nor the time, and this is not the way.
It's one of the deadliest riots in American history, one that claimed dozens of lives and completely decimated a thriving African-American business community known as Black Wall Street. Ashley Strawmeyer has more on the Tulsa Race Massacre 100 years after the tragedy.
Our country may forget this history, but I cannot.
Tulsa, Oklahoma, May 31st, 1921. A white mob descends on a major black neighborhood and an economic hub called Greenwood. following rumored reports of a black man assaulting a white woman. The deadly events that followed going down in history as the Tulsa Race Massacre.
I still see black men being shot, black bodies lying in the street. I still smell smoke and see fire.
Over the span of 18 hours, that mob destroyed Greenwood, burning more than 1,000 homes and businesses to the ground and murdering an estimated 300 people while taking thousands of black Tulsans into custody. Monday marks 100 years since the massacre, and still survivors are seeking justice and reparations from the city of Tulsa.
My family was driven out of our home. We were left with nothing. We were made refugees in our own country.
Activists say the time for Tulsa to repair the past and make amends is far overdue.
100 years for reparations is like waiting 3 hours for a burger at McDonald's.
Meanwhile, leading up to the centennial, community members are paying tribute to the lives lost and those forever changed, marching down a road that was once a path used by black people to escape the mob the night of the massacre. The area of Greenwood never fully recovered following the massacre, and no members of the mob were ever prosecuted. Efforts in Tulsa to uncover remains of massacre victims is still underway. Ashley Strohmeyer, Fox News.
Still ahead tonight, a teenager is in the hospital after trying to duplicate a challenge on the popular social media app TikTok.
It was unreal, heartbreaking. I don't think anybody wants to see their daughter on fire.
Her mother's message to other parents to prevent something like this from happening to anyone else.
Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Tonight's Big Fox forecast is brought to you by William Mattar. Good evening, everyone. I'm meteorologist Kim Walker with your weather update. We're ending Memorial Day on a good note with just a little bit of cloud cover today. We are expecting a little bit warmer conditions for the next couple of days as high pressure moves toward the Atlantic once again, sending south winds across our area, which will translate to warmer conditions for tomorrow. Plenty of sunshine for your Tuesday. But it is going to start to get a little bit humid for the rest of the week, especially as a storm system approaches. Our average high for tomorrow is around 74 degrees, and we are expecting temperatures to be very close to that for your Tuesday. Starting off with a little bit of cloud cover, though, from 7 o'clock through about 11. Temperatures do warm up to around 71 degrees by the late morning hours. Some sunshine in the afternoon with highs close to around 75 degrees. And then we drop down into the 60s in the early evening hours with just a little bit of clouds, patchy clouds across our sky. But things will start to rev up as we head toward the middle of the week. We have an approaching storm system, and so we're going to have rounds of rain as this jet stream starts to move across the country. So we have rain chances almost every single day from Wednesday into the weekend. It won't be a total washout each day, but there will be some rain off and on for your Wednesday, for your Thursday, and also into your Friday. So let's take a look at our future radar for tonight. We are expecting those clouds to really thicken up, so expect mostly cloudy conditions tomorrow, and then some of those clouds will give way to a little bit of sunshine in the afternoon and into the evening hours. But here comes those clouds again coming in early on Wednesday, and then around 1 o'clock in the afternoon a few showers start to move into the area, and then the activity starts to pick up in the latter part of the evening on Wednesday, and these showers and thunderstorms will hang out through early Thursday, and then we're going to have another round of rain, possibly even a few thunderstorms on Thursday afternoon, and it becomes quite widespread as well by the end of the day on Thursday. Here's a look at your forecast for tonight. Temperatures will dip down to around 44 degrees in Elmira, 45 in Corning, but 48 degrees in Perkinsville. Temperatures tomorrow, very seasonable, 75 degrees in Elmira, Corning around 76, 73, a little bit cooler in Perkinsville, and 77 degrees in Watkins Glen. We do cool down to around 71 degrees on Thursday with increasing rain chances. Expect scattered showers and a few thunderstorms across our area on Thursday. Then the temperatures will really start to surge as we head toward the end of the week. In fact, we're going to be unseasonably warm by the weekend with highs in the mid-80s.
A teenage girl in Oregon is fighting for her life. Her mother says she was trying to recreate a TikTok video that she had seen online called the Fire Challenge, and it went horribly wrong. Elizabeth Chavez has more.
Chances are you or your kid have TikTok.
Light it up.
The social media app that lets you create short videos and share them. But an attempt at a TikTok mirror fire challenge is what the Crane family believes is the reason 13-year-old Destiny is now in the ICU.
It was unreal, heartbreaking. I don't think anybody wants to see their daughter on fire. Horrible.
This is the video Kimberly Crane, Destiny's mom, and Andrea, Destiny's sister, say the teen was trying to recreate.
Her friend was like yelling and saying like, oh, she was filming TikTok, she was filming TikToks. There was a capped bottle of alcohol sitting on the counter, and the whole side of it was black and the whole side of it had busted open. And there was a lighter and a broken candle. So that's just kind of the conclusion we came to.
Firefighter Rob Garrison tells me these challenges put everyone at risk.
This is maybe one of the most dangerous things I've ever seen anybody do in my life.
Garrison says when your skin catches on fire, it burns within seconds.
You can be standing next to a lake if you want and light yourself on fire. And by the time you hit the water, you're probably going to have burns on your body.
Destiny has been in the ICU since May 14th. She's had a tracheotomy, and doctors are now in the process of doing skin grafts on her arm and neck. The Cranes are now warning other parents about the dangers these videos pose and say they want to prevent something like this from happening to anyone else.
Monitor what kids are looking at because they can put themselves in dangerous situations without even realizing it.
Garrison says this is an important conversation parents need to have with their kids.
You're not only putting yourself in danger, you're putting your entire family, anybody in that building in danger.
A 7-year-old boy is being hailed a hero for saving his family's life in a boating accident. His family says they wouldn't be alive if it weren't for him. Bree Isom has more.
How'd you get so good at being in the water and dealing with those kind of situations?
I have no idea.
Chase Pouse is only 7 and he saved himself and his family on Friday night. Chase, his 4-year-old sister Abigail, and his dad went out on a boat to fish from Mandarin Point. Chase and Abigail swam by the boat while it was anchored.
The current was so strong that my sister, she usually hangs out at the back of the boat, and she let go. So I let go of the boat and I grabbed her, and then I was stuck.
Stephen Pouse, the father, says he jumped out of the boat to save his kids. Pouse says he told Chase to swim to shore.
I told them both I loved them because I wasn't sure what was going to happen. And I tried to stick with her as long as I could, and both of them really. I wore myself out, and she drifted away from me.
But Chase kept swimming to shore.
Were you getting tired swimming?
Oh, yes, that's why I did then. That's why I floated on my back.
Chase says he didn't have a life jacket on, but Abigail did. And that's what kept her afloat when she drifted away from her dad. The 7-year-old made it to shore after an hour and knocked on a neighbor's door for help. And that help finally came when Florida Fish and Wildlife rescued the father and 4-year-old in a boat. The Jacksonville Fire and Rescue Department and the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office also helped in this rescue.
We're here. By the grace of God, we're here.
It's been said that one man's trash is another man's treasure. But when a 16-year-old started buying abandoned storage units as a hobby, he quickly learned that he could turn that into acts of kindness. Sam Reed has this inspirational story.
There's a lot of wonder in Wakefield. That 16-year-old Shane Jones' home.
I go to yard sales a lot. I metal detect. I like recovering things like that.
Almost anywhere you look, he's got an assortment of antiques.
Yeah, it's copper.
Typically, he buys his treasures right from their original owner, until he saw a YouTube tutorial on purchasing abandoned storage lockers. Soon, he was hooked.
And you have a certain amount of time to bid on it.
A few months ago, he purchased one in Providence.
I worked last summer and just used what I got from that.
But instead of feeling excited to see what he just bought, he was sad when reality set in as to why it was there in the first place.
This isn't something like yard sales where they gave it to me and sold it to me. This is like where their stuff was taken because they couldn't pay it.
So using names and information found in abandoned boxes, he tracked down a woman in a nursing home and gifted items that belonged to her son back to her.
It was good. I liked it.
Next, he bought one in Narragansett.
It actually had family heirlooms in there.
And once again, he solved the mystery, returning the items to their original owner.
They were all very happy. They tried to offer me money to repay it, and I didn't accept it just because it was something to do and it was nice.
To keep the joy going, he bought one in Johnston. It belonged to a woman from Connecticut who fell on hard times after her baby passed away. She sent messages to Shane. Everything she had to remember her child was in that storage unit and returned to her.
Really a lot of gratitude. She was just really happy.
Shane says he doesn't mind spending his hard-earned money to help others because this gesture is priceless.
Well, it's not mine. Why just let other people suffer as I succeed?
It's the ultimate dream home for Star Wars fans, and it can be yours for just $4.3 million. Known as the Darth Vader house, this home in Houston features 4 bedrooms and 4.5 baths. The nickname comes from the exterior's resemblance to the famed Star Wars villain's helmet. The property also has 4-car garage, which just might be enough room to park the Millennium Falcon. A Memphis school teacher is using music to inspire his second graders before they leave school for the summer. He's hoping that his lyrics will give them words to live by as they continue their education. Shaban Riley has his story.
I feel smart. I feel good. I feel smart. I feel good. It's time to learn, man. It's time to learn. It's time to learn, man.
In a community where children see tragedy every day, Nick Knight is giving his second graders at Dunbar Elementary School in Orange Mound motivation and hope.
Y'all said, I feel.
Knight wrote the song to help boost children's self-esteem. You can also hear instrumental music by Drake in the background that Knight got off YouTube because he says his students like the sound of hip-hop. It gets them excited about learning.
If a child tells themselves they're smart enough times, that eventually they believe it.
Knight could have taught at any other school in the country after graduating from North Carolina A&T State University in Greensboro a few years ago. But he chose Dunbar Elementary because he knew he could make a true impact in a community that's often plagued by violence.
Orange Mound has a median income of around $30,000. I'm also aware if you look around the neighborhood, there is a lack of resources, food and health care, and the schools are underfunded.
That's why Knight is standing in the gap for those students in need of a mentor.
One more time.
We want to leave you with a smile tonight. A North Carolina woman's mistake led to a big payoff. Elizabeth Johnson won $2 million after buying a lottery ticket for a drawing she was not even trying to enter. She rushed to get her numbers into a Powerball drawing last week, but missed the cutoff by 1 minute to buy a ticket with online play. However, Johnson's quick pick ticket was good for the drawing 3 days later, which earned her a $2 million prize. She plans to buy a house and take her kids to Disneyland. Congratulations. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a good night. We'll see you back here tomorrow.